What's going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon out there. It is the Earth Master here on this Saturday, May 28th, 2022 date. It's about 11:33 p.m. California time. Latest quake shows a 2.1 earthquake on the globe. Looks like off the coast of Morocco area. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity across the USGS map here. As I kick up the right window, there we go. Some movement kicking up here, especially right around the Vanuatu area and the Indonesia region. We have seen quite a bit of deeper earthquake activity in this region again, and also a little bit of volcanic activity ramping up within this area of the Vanuatu area. Gaua, I believe, is how you pronounce that volcano in the Vanuatu area, showing a little bit of elevated unrest. This article put out today talks about the continued generally high level of unrest at the volcano here in the Vanuatu region. Local observatory reports continuing, looks like emissions of steam and gas. An abundant ash column rising from the summit vent was followed by a loud explosion today, heard by locals in a nearby village. Looks like the alert level for this volcano still staying at a level 2, so a little bit of heightened unrest at this specific volcano there around the Vanuatu area. And no doubt a lot of earthquake activity within this region. Quite a few, well, let's look at this one right here. This earthquake here was a 5.6 in the Vanuatu region, 214 kilometers deep, way down in there. Of course, this whole area highly active volcanoes. We did have some shallower earthquake activity here around the Tonga region recently, earlier this morning, with a 5.7 at 10 kilometers. Those two are the latest earthquakes here in this area of the world. As far as this movement here around the Indonesia area and up around the Philippines, all movement from late last night. And those were just consisting of a bunch of 4s, but no further subsequent activity here following this movement in the Vanuatu and the Tonga region. The northwestern portion of the Pacific Plate remains calm and quiet for now in terms of earthquake activity. Just one earthquake here south of Tokyo, 4.6. The Aleutian Trench, about the same. Look at that, pretty quiet. We do have one earthquake up here in Alaska, 3.3. That happening within the last hour. Here's the microquake map as well. A little bit of movement up around Denali and around the Cook Inlet area where this 3.3 struck. But overall, things very calm throughout the Aleutian Trench and the northwestern portion of the Pacific Ring of Fire, Pacific Plate there. Let's see, what do we got here for the Pacific Northwest? Things showing up a little bit here on the map. Looks like right outside of the Mount St. Helens region and Mount Rainier, all showing a little bit of microquake activity here in the region, and also some movement outside Portland. And looks like over here towards the, is this Mount Hood up here? No, this ain't Mount Hood. This is Arlington, Oregon. Not for sure what's going on out there. About 18 kilometer deep, 1.5, well east of Mount Hood, it looks like. Movement into the Northern California region, getting some spotty activity here at the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone of 1.7 at about 19 kilometers. Of course, we've been watching the seismographs there. There's been a few earthquakes popping up, not listed here on the map. One thing I've noticed here in the Cobb Mountain area, look at this, guys. It hasn't been this quiet in quite some time, so I'm not for sure what's going on down there. I don't know if they put their operations into a pause. Far as the Calpine Hydro, I think it's still Calpine that owns that hydrothermal field out there just south of Clear Lake around Cobb Mountain. Was down there a couple months ago investigating all the earthquakes. But wow, this is the all magnitudes, one day. Only 2 of them. That's a little on the quiet side, so I'm not for sure what's going on. If they've paused their operations, or if they're just stopped reporting them. Remember, we do have a holiday weekend this weekend. Maybe everyone's taking the weekend off, extended weekend. Low activity around the Bay Area, around the Calaveras Fault Zone and the Hayward Fault. It's going to be these 2 separate fault systems here around the Bay. And a creeping section here of the San Andreas Fault, showing a little bit of swarming around the Diablo Range. A couple small microquakes. We did have a 3 point, where's that 3.2? 3.2 here around the San Lucas, California area. That one on the San Andreas Fault. But since then, that's where all this little microquake activity is kind of ramping up. So watching that area as well. Nevada, things kind of tapering off up here. Eastern part of Sierra Nevada as well. We're not noticing too much in terms of activity around Long Valley Supervolcano or the Ridgecrest region. Just a couple small microquakes in that area. Southern California, though, getting a little activity ramping up off the coast of the Newport Beach, Huntington Beach area, Long Beach, southern end of the concrete jungle out here. A little swarm of movement. Some of this activity kicking up rather deep as well. About 14 kilometers here off the coast of this area. So far, the largest in this cluster appears to be a 2.3. But then, like I say, look at the depths here. They're super deep for this area. Looks like it's just off of the Thumbs, Huntington Beach. Okay, that's a little odd. There's the Newport Inglewood. It's kind of hard to tell on this map. Looks like it just might be off of the, like I mentioned, the Thumbs, Huntington Beach area. So let's go ahead and check out, kind of want to check out a little bit of data on that fault system here. See if they have it listed. Well, it's not in that one. What was it? Thumbs, let's see here. Huntington Beach, right? Huntington. Okay, stand by for just a second here. I don't know if they list this or not. Doesn't look like it. Wow. It's a little on the odd side. I'm going to have to come back and check on that and see if I can find out a little bit of information on that specific fault system there. But anyway, it looks like kind of that's where it's occurring at, which off of the Newport Inglewood fault, but on this other one off on the shore, or offshore, I should say. Very deep, though. Very deep earthquake movement there. San Jacinto Fault area, a little bit of movement down in this region through the mountains, and also some activity outside of the Desert Hot Springs, kind of stretching across the San Andreas Fault section here, the southern end. No major swarming to take note of around the Salton Sea for now. A couple small earthquakes north of the Mexicali area. Throughout the Intermountain West, Great Basin area, all pretty quiet. Not a whole lot going on through Yellowstone. Let's go ahead and check this out here real quick. Looks pretty quiet. Another typical day up there in the beautiful state of Wyoming. Things look calm and clear. Not seeing a whole lot of activity at all to report here, folks. As far as microquake activity goes, it's about as quiet as it can be. Hopefully I didn't jinx it. Texas and Oklahoma, about the same as well. Got one earthquake here around Quinton, a 3.4. Aside from that, things seem to be tapering off here along the North American plate for now. Puerto Rico area, seeing a little cluster off the coast of the Dominican Republic area, also northwest, like I mentioned here. Still seeing that typical swarm, but this activity northwest of Puerto Rico, kind of up there around the Puerto Rico Trench. Still kind of watching that area pretty closely. Mid-Atlantic Ridge over here to the east did have a 5.2. That one kicking up earlier this morning. Also to the north in the Iceland area, seen a 4.7. That one looks like it's right there on the plate boundary itself. 10-kilometer depth for that earthquake. See what else we got. South America showing some movement. Not a whole lot, though. Colombia, this one was from late last night, the 4.3. And a little bit of prior activity as well down south into the Peru-Chile Trench. 108-kilometer deep, 4.1. So very quiet conditions throughout the South America region as far as 4.0 and above goes. Hawaii definitely showing some activity ramping up. Been watching the Hawaii stations here on the live seismograph stations on the earthquake 3D stream, and they're definitely kicking up. And they're reporting them as well. Southeastern region showing some heightened activity today, down there about 30 kilometers or so. No major changes at Mauna Loa or the Kilauea volcano or any other volcanoes there on the Big Island for now. So just, kind of watching this swarm of activity here. Even though this is older, Still getting some back building pressure here from the east, headed towards the west. Still think that's going to put quite a bit of pressure and possibly some larger scale movement up here north of the Mariana Trench. Got to watch this area pretty closely. It's been quiet for a couple days now. Let's see what else we got. Someone mentioned, let me see if I can pull this up here. My GPS stations aren't working yet still, and I'm not for sure why. Let's see if I can find it. Looks like I've let's go over here to the PNSN network, see if I can find it through there. Seismograph stations, maps. So, you know, and this is a pretty good idea. Occasionally we do it just due to the lack of reporting out here from the PNSN and the USGS network. We'll just pick a couple seismograph stations out here across the board here in Oregon. You know, they say it's pretty quiet. If you look here on the map, on the USGS map, things look pretty quiet, at least 2.5 and above. All magnitudes about the same through Oregon. So I want to check out this portion here along the southwestern portion of Oregon. Beautiful area. Where is this at? Bandon, is this right? Bandon, Oregon. Beautiful community. Absolutely love the greenery up there and the ocean. I could use some of those temperatures right now. But man, is it a dangerous spot when it comes to the tsunami potential up there. All right, so far as earthquake activity goes, I don't believe this is earthquake activity. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it could be wind events. Those are not maybe right here, this black line. But a lot of this other stuff looks like interference. Let's check out the previous day here in Bandon. Let's see what we got. It's really hard to tell on some of this stuff. It doesn't look like earthquake activity. Looks like something starting up. Maybe some machinery around here. I don't know. But as far as general earthquake activity, we know what to look for, and I'm not seeing it there. At least on that day. Yeah, let's check out a different station because that kind of looks like a little bit of interference going on out there. It's kind of hard to tell. Sometimes there's, no telling if it's next to a school. It could be next to a highway. It could be anywhere. So let's see if they're going to let me access their map again. There we go. I'll check out a little bit further south into the Wedderburn, Oregon. I've actually never heard of that. I've been up in Oregon along Highway 101 quite a bit. A little bit further south. But I'm doing this to kind of point out, see, there's that event activity again. It looks like some type of strong wind event going on, and the coast up there is famous for getting quite a bit of wind. Kind of want to see what's going on up there. They do have a warm front kicking up just north of Coos Bay with an incoming cold front right now. So that could be what's going on within the last couple hours there. But as far as earthquake activity, it just doesn't look typical like earthquake activity. Go down south a little bit further. Carpenterville, I've heard of that. North of the Brookings area. Let's see what these guys look like too. So yeah, and there's that event again. And this one kind of shows it a little bit more. All of these are consistent with this type of noise, this type of background static, if you will. But far as earthquake activity, definitely not seeing any on these localized stations. So going to start doing that, at least covering a couple stations throughout Oregon, Washington, Northern California. We can also do that on the San Andreas or the New Madrid zone. The New Madrid zone has quite a bit of stations and whatnot that you can monitor throughout the area in live seismograph stations here. We'll go ahead and pick one out here, and they've been showing no activity throughout the New Madrid zone for a while. So that looks like, at least for the past couple hours, they're pretty clear. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, it looks generally clear over the last couple hours. No earthquake activity to report there. Okay, folks, moving on here. I don't want to make this a huge update. Got a busy day today. Going to try, before the heat kicks back in, to finish the rest of my field. I still have quite a bit of bull thistles out there that are, well, they dried up. So I'm going to try and chop them down with a machete. There's quite a few of them. They stand about 5-6 feet tall. And if you know what a bull thistle plant is, man, they're beautiful when they're green and they have that purple flower. But when they're dry, man, they're not friendly. They've got thorns and needles all over them, and it's not a good plant. They're spreading seeds like crazy right now too. We did have a pretty large event overnight in the KP index here. Solar weather kicked up here to the 5 level for quite a while, creating some storming conditions and quite a bit of auroras up there at the higher latitudes. They have not created an update yet here on this site, but that looked pretty sufficient there in creating that those storming conditions overnight. Let's see what we look like here on the charts. Yeah, we did definitely seen that solar speed ramp up along with the temp, which did help create those storming conditions. Kind of want to see if space weather has anything putting out right now as far as any updates go. I think solar ham is off for right now. This one was put out wow, okay, so look at this here. Auroras in the USA. Finally, last night I captured northern lights over the bridge in Michigan. What is that, McKinnick Bridge in Michigan? That's pretty cool. Some of the mid-latitudes up there. Looks like this display was caused by a co-rotating interaction region which hit Earth on May 27th. Those are transition zones between slow and fast-moving streams of solar wind. They contain shock waves that often do a good job of sparking auroras. This particular CIR caused a G1 class storm last night. A fast stream of solar wind arriving behind it kept the storm going into the early hours of May 28th. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome, I must say. Looks like things calming down, though, a little bit in terms of that solar wind speed and stream right now. So sunspot activity looking pretty minimal, folks. They dropped this down almost down to nothing for even an M flare. Only chance we have here is a C flare at 25% chance. So looking pretty depressing or disappointing, to say the least. I want to see this thing filled up with massive sunspots sparking X-class flares everywhere. I think that would be, at least in my book, I think it'd be pretty cool. As long as we don't get that super mega one that would shut down any power grids. It is cool to see the storming conditions reach down to the the middle latitudes and hopefully one day down here to California, Northern California. It's possible. We just got to have a direct bullseye shot and a strong enough flare with a bullseye CME head towards us, and you never know. So, yeah, not a whole lot to chat about here on the solar flare possibilities. Things pretty calm at the moment, folks. See what else we got. I think that's about it, folks. I'm going to get out here and make the best of the day. See how things progress. Pretty optimistic about today. Just got to get in the motivation mood. Sometimes when it comes to yard work and whatnot, it's like, man, I'd rather just stay inside all day and do nothing. Well, really not do nothing, but going outside and doing a lot of work, oh goodness, sounds harder than it actually is. It probably take me a couple hours to go out there and do this. So, all right, we'll be off here though. We'll be monitoring the live chat and live stream throughout the day today. If anything does pop up, we will of course do an update and jump on in here. Might even jump on in here anyway just to say hi. Missy Mimi's is here. What do we got? 3.2 latest on the Hawaii map, and that is showing up on the Hawaii station right here. It's going to be this well-defined signature there, and also right here. So we got two Hawaii stations. The Leah Permanent Station, that picked it up pretty nicely. 3.2 in Hawaii right now. Things kind of popping pretty good there. All right, guys, we'll chat to you a little bit later. Stay safe.